regards to the large fence for the day room 1 side, as requested, that was, for that portion of the work, is about $70,000.
70,000? Now, where is this perimeter fence going?
From the administrative side of the facility.
Around the female section?
Around the female section and tying into the main yard out back. I'll get about 400 feet of chain link. Last week we began our substance abuse class. We have 10 inmates attending that, and the inmate handbook has been rewritten to conform to the new policies and procedures. So that has been done. And that's all I have for public report today.
You talked about a fence going from the exercise yard over to the corner, or from the generator over to the corner of the barn. Was that included in that estimate?
That's a different portion of the estimate, but that piece itself is looks like $5,500. $5,545.
And the other one, what would you say the one was? 70?
7178, yes, sir.
71. 78. Oh. Nice number.
What's that?
Some number.
And that's for an 8-foot chain link fence? 12 feet?
12 foot.
Plus wire?
The razor wire, yes, sir.
You got the signs up?
They're going up. Wayne's out on vacation this week, so they're going to go up next week.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, you got anything else?
Not for
That's
public,
it?
no, sir.
You have any questions?
Yes. Last week, or no, I think 2 weeks ago, you came here and you said there was going to be a graduation going on about
Yes.
your,
That was
what
Friday.
it, your manager's program.
Yes, ma'am.
And I get this flyer, and last week I get a reminder. And I went because Commissioner Sorensen said he was going on vacation or be absent. And Commissioner Solomon said she was not sure if she was going. So I went and I asked the lady, and she said, you called in that you want to have the certificates mailed to you. There were 2 Jason Johnsons there, so I couldn't take your certificate with you. They asked me what your middle name was, if it was M or S, and I didn't know that.
Okay.
So I still asked her to mail it for you. I brought a program.
Oh, thank you very much.
It was a nice ceremony, but there was nobody from Carroll County there.
Officer Keniston was there.
I didn't see him.
You didn't see him?
No, and he
Yeah.
didn't call his name, too.
Yeah, Officer Keniston had he brought back the certificates.
Oh, didn't see him.
I appreciate you bringing back the program for me.
You want to explain a little bit about that graduation that you had, or that course that you took?
It was the Certified Public Manager Program offered by the, I said 2 weeks ago, it was the Department of Education. I was wrong. It was the Bureau of Education and Training and Standards. 2-year program, talks about a lot of management classes. The whole thing was all in management in the public sector. Again, it is you start off the first year as a Certified Public Supervisor course, and then the Certified Public Manager course, just compounds on top of that.
Okay.
And I do apologize for not having been there, but when I looked at the time element, there was no way that I could get from when that was over to Berlin in time for what I had to do up in Berlin, so it just was not possible. I just wanted to give you this card, and God, I hope we never ever have to use it again.
Okay.
But I was at there was a judging of high school projects at
Oh,
the the tech center.
Tech center, yeah.
My husband was a judge, so.
I was a judge too.
And I went there, and on the way towards the front, there was somebody, he was not a high school, he was a businessman, called Dragonfly Aerials. And they do aerial reconnaissance.
What are they?
And should we ever have to need again?
Okay, you want to explain this Comtech security service agreement?
That's to handle the security systems within the facility.
Any different than previous years?
It's a whole new company, sir.
What's that?
It's a whole new company. They were lower than the provider that we've had for the last 9 years now.
These two contracts are different, right?
Well, Norris is the fire alarm system.
Okay.
HCI deals with all the security locks. The Comtech deals with all the electronic components of the security system.
And which option are we going with?
We went with the one time they come out, one time they spend an entire week and they go through everything that's within the facility.
For $6,950
Mhm.
versus $11,000 versus quarterly is $18,000.
Right. The other company that we had was double the price, and then we have to pay for travel and all those other expenses.
And these people are out of Wisconsin.
Mhm.
There's no firms closer than that?
We had a company come up out of Massachusetts, but they don't service the Omron system that we have. They have their own, Montgomery Technologies has their own system that they've designed, that they service. And our system is all Omron.
Want to look at that? See if we want to approve that one? How about, and Norris is the fire alarm for $2,182?
Yes.
This are renewals, huh? What you are giving to us?
This one's out of Durham, New Hampshire?
Renewals.
Renewals, yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you this, are any of these required by
Well,
anybody?
Well, yes.
Just yes or no?
No.
No, okay.
Is it a good idea to maintain your equipment?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Want to look at that one?
It says for emergency service, Comtech may also provide. What is, may usually means they don't have to?
It's a good question. I can talk to the service manager over there. The reason why I contacted them is they were the vendor that built the Grafton County facility, and they also built the Cheshire County facility. So they have two other facilities in the state that their components are in.
Cummings, that has been a contract in the past, right, for the generator?
Yes, sir.
And that from Scarborough, Maine, for $1,718.
What's happening now during this interim period, this commenced on the 1st of April?
We haven't had a service contract in effect. The other one expired with secure controls the 31st of March.
Well, given that, why wouldn't we want to have the contract starting when we sign the contract?
Well, I did it because that I can't have them start prior to the budget being approved. So my intention was to have these things done the 1st of April.
So this one here with the service maintenance agreement out of Bangor, Maine, is strictly for doors
Oh, and the locks, yes, sir.
for $3,680.
And they'll come in and they'll grease the sliders, make sure all the locks are all working properly.
Again, no local person could do this?
They're the company that installed all the lock components, and it's a specialty lock. I don't think that there's anybody local that can work on them.
It says here that there is will provide one emergency on-site call. Anything over that one emergency.
Police
Sorry.
would be billed, yes, ma'am.
Is this a new company?
That's a new
For
service
doors.
contract for us, yes, sir.
And who had it before?
We never had it. We never had
Never
it.
had one. And you feel we need to have one?
Well, we're coming up on 10 years for the facility, and those locks are constantly cycling. And for one lock system, you're looking at about $900 for one lock.
So it is not a renewal, so there's only one renewal.
The Cummings is a renewal, the Norris is a renewal, Comtech is a new contract,
Okay.
HCI Craftsman is a new contract. And then there's one in there for Strojan's, which is a renewal as well.
Did your maintenance person, did he get school on locks?
We took that out of the budget.
Took it out,
Mhm.
okay. They get $86 an hour. So this is an annual agreement for $3,668. $3,680. Okay. What's your privilege on the contracts? I think these two, Norris, and Cummings, we've had before. We've had good luck with them, both of those. Could I hear a motion to approve the Norris contract and the Cummings contract?
So moved.
What was the other one?
Norris and Cummings,
Cummings.
Cummings Northeast.
Yeah, do you have any numbers?
The Norris contract is for $2,182, and the Cummings contract is for $1,718. Did you move? To approve these?
I second.
You moved,
Yeah, she
seconded?
did.
Okay, any further discussion on these two? Hearing none, all those in support of the motion say aye. Aye. Then I will sign it.
You're also aware that under the renewal proceeds, you have to tell them at least 60 days prior if you don't want to renew, otherwise it automatically renews
Renews.
at a 4% increase
Okay.
per year. Is that normal?
It's been my experience in any contracts that we've entertained that there's an automatic, like the Omnicare one that we had, that was an automatic renewal if we didn't notify them within 120 days.
And do they also put in a
Increase?
increase?
They didn't put an increase in, no.
And what does this take care of?
The electronic components of the security system.
Well, guess we need that.
This service experts out of Milton, out of Rochester, I should say. This deals with air conditioning,
Heating, yes, sir.
heating and air conditioning. Are you recommending a 1 year or 2 year contract
1 year.
for $2,950? I'll look at that one. And on his contact, you're looking at a 1 year
Yes, sir.
for $6,950. I'm assuming these are all in your budget, all covered in your budget, right?
Yes.
So this contract from the service expert, we have to pay for the filters and for the belts.
Yes, that's
So
separate.
you know that.
I suppose they really mean parts here, not pats. I don't think there's anything that says pats. Parts.
Well, probably his parts, yeah.
So you're going with a 1 year, is that what you were saying?
Yes, ma'am.
There's no pre-inspection. They don't warranty or guarantee existing equipment.
They're taking over for the other company, so... Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. You don't have contact.
No, this is the hardware consultants.
You want this renewal clause in there for this Tech?
I can ask to have them taken out.
And it jumps up 4% the second year. I think if we're looking at a 1 year contract, I think we ought to look at it again in another year. This is a new company too, right?
Yes, sir.
How do the rest of you feel about this renewal for this contract?
Well, I like the idea of taking out the renewal parts.
What's that?
I like the idea of taking out the renewal part.
Yeah.
So you need to make a note then, before it expires, 60 days.
Oh, we'll
If
just,
we're going with them or not.
So what's your privilege on the context contract? We approve it and take out the automatic renewal
Yes.
clause?
And what is this the cost? $6,950?
Mhm.
What are we doing again? Let me see.
So hardware consultants, they do locks, is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Have they done it before? I'm sorry, I missed that. What happened to the people who had done it before?
We've never had a service contract for our locks. Just the electronic components. I think.
Oh.
What's your privilege for the service expert contract? This is the air conditioning and the heating, $2,950, one-year contract.
So you're talking about something else, huh?
Yeah.
I thought we were doing the
I'm
compact.
talking about this one right here. You were still reviewing that one.
Yeah.
I'll move that we approve the
Service
service
expert.
expert contract for $2,950 for a one-year contract. Do I hear a second?
Seconded.
Seconded. Any further discussion on this particular company out of Rochester? If not, all those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, then so voted.
Now we're doing the compact.
Yep.
So they will be charging overtime calls if it is on Sundays or on holidays. And you read that? That will be $180 an hour. This is only a service, what they provided. All
ma'am.
other parts we need to.
Purchase, yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Did you read the whole agreement, the service agreement?
Do you see the clause in here regarding general provisions? For the duration of this agreement and for 3 years following its termination, the customer agrees not to hire or retain any hardware consultants, employee, or in any way cause a hardware consultant's employee to be hired or retained by an entity other than hardware consultants.
Can't steal their employees.
Hmm?
Can't steal their employees.
Yeah. What's your privilege
Could
on
you read
this?
that again, please?
Basically, what they're saying is we cannot hire one of their employees until after 3 years of the termination of the contract.
Could you read it again, please?
For the duration of this agreement and for 3 years following its termination, the customer agrees not to hire or retain any hardware consultant's employee or in any way cause a hardware consultant's employee to be hired or retained by an entity other than hardware consultants. In other words, we can't hire somebody out of that company until 3 years after the contract. We've had a similar contract with dealing with the nursing home dietary, whereby we couldn't hire a consultant until a certain period of time after termination of the contract. In other words, we can't hire, if
Well, I
somebody...
understand, but I can see that non-compete during the duration, but what happens if the star performer for hardware, or whatever their name
Yeah.
is, starts his own company, and in 4 years or 5 years, or 1 or 2 years after the contract's expired, why shouldn't we have the right to hire that person? We're paying these people to do the job for 3 years, not for 3 years after.
Because you agreed at the outset.
I know that, and I'm saying I wouldn't agree to it.
It's at the termination after 3 years.
I would agree to the completion of the contract, but not for 3 years afterwards. Somebody starts his own business and he does a good job, you're gonna eliminate him because he used to work for the person you had here, who you may not be happy with?
But we're signing a contract for 3 years with this company.
I understand.
If somebody leaves that company within the 3 years, starts his own company, we can't hire that person until at the end of the 3 year after termination.
I understand. I'm
Okay.
saying I wouldn't go any farther than the 3 years of the contract duration.
Seems, I just
I
want,
think we're saying the same thing.
No,
No,
you're
you're
saying,
not.
no.
no, you're not.
6 years.
Say that
You're
again.
saying 6 years, I'm saying 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
And my question, though, would be, if you didn't like the way the company was performing, why would you hire somebody who worked for that company?
Okay, let's take the other one. You have contracts up, Commissioner, and you go out for bid, and these people aren't below bidder on the next
Okay.
3 contracts,
That's
and yet their top man has started his own company. You're saying he can't bid on the
No,
job?
no, I just, that's different. I
Yes, it
I
is,
agree with you, yeah. It's just the other was not,
go ahead.
They've proposed a contract.
Right.
There's a clause there that has some iffiness in it, and I have to tell you, in private industry, that bid wouldn't have thrown out with something like that. That's a bizarre.
Okay,
Can't you negotiate with them?
sure.
Take it out, take that clause out. We like your act, but we don't like that clause.
Mhm.
Worth a shot.
Yep,
But I gotta tell you, in private industry, out of here.
okay, and you had a question?
My point. My
Point.
point was that I think it's unreasonable.
Okay. We agree with that? We agree with that?
yep.
Okay, we negotiate that section. How about this one? We gotta sign that yet, or approve it?
It's not a contract. We didn't approve it yet.
No.
Dave, Commissioner Sorensen.
Yes.
So
Just
he-
a clarification on the automatic renewal. That's actually been held to be unenforceable against government entities because you're budgeting on an annual basis.
Right,
You may not have the funds next year budgeted for a renewal. So that language, I mean, it's just some information that Jason can pass on to the vendor, but it's an unenforceable provision of the contract.
are you saying that written in the contract, it should be that subject to,
You can write it subject to, but
subject to funding?
you can write it subject to if you want to try that out. But an automatic renewal on any kind of contract with an annual budget government is not
Yeah.
enforceable.
The others were annual, that one that happens to be a 3-year.
And you're choosing to do a 3-year contract because of the economy of it. Because generally speaking, the contracts would be limited to 1 or 2 years.
This is only a 1-year contract, Commissioner.
Is it?
Yeah, under 1A, 365 days.
Mr. Babson, you're correct, it's 6 years after termination.